everybody. I am so excited to share with you this conversation that I had this past week with some amazing ladies that some of you are already familiar with, and if you're not, please go jump over soon and subscribe to their channels because you are going to want to hear what they have to say and follow their journeys. And we're digging into it all about mindset and what works well, what some of the challenges, what do we do when we face challenges. I think you're really going to get a lot out of this conversation. So I would encourage you right now to go ahead, get a warm cup of something that you enjoy, a blanket, put your feet up, and just steal a line from your pal Misty. Sit back, relax, and enjoy, and I'll see you on the flip side. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining tonight. I'm so excited you all could be here and could get together and chat. And sort of the focus of this conversation is to talk about mindset. And I thought though we'd first go around and give a little intro of ourselves. If you want to tell a little bit about you, your history with weight loss, where you are now, anything that you want to sort of talk about. And I'll just go around from the top. So Alicia, you're up first.
Okay, so I'm Alicia Green from Fit Life with Alicia. That's the name of my channel. I have been doing YouTube seriously, I've been doing it for about 8 or 9 months now. And I've been on a weight loss journey most of my adult life. Once I started having kids about 20 years ago, I have struggled with my weight since then. But I feel like I'm starting to kind of get a handle on it now. I'm in my early 40s and I feel like I'm just starting to kind of figure out what works and kind of crack the code to better health and to feeling good and having more energy.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Andrea.
All right, so my name is Andrea Munoz and I'm with Andrea's Journey 100. I have been overweight my entire life. I never knew what it was to just be and not want something different for my body until recently. At my high point of 250 pounds, I just felt like this is just my new reality. Like there's nothing I can do for this. Like we're just going to live life. And then I found a podcast where she really talked about like taking responsibility for your choices. And I don't know, something just like clicked in me that I could just figure this out if I just like quit giving up on it. And so I just kind of like made that commitment to myself that like, I'm a smart person. Like I can figure this out, right? Like I can figure out what it takes. So I started on a journey to lose 100 pounds and I'm currently 75 pounds down and looking to get that last 25 off. So it's been a roller coaster, going through this journey, but honestly, like I've never been more excited just about life in general, not even about like the clothes that I wear anymore. So it's been a complete transformation.
That's so awesome. Yay, Sarah.
So my name's Sarah and my YouTube channel is Lose Weight Sarah. And I very similarly, all of my adult life have been trying to lose weight, had 2 kids, and I'm still trying to lose the baby weight. My baby is now 10. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. Something I struggled with was fad dieting and yo-yo dieting. I think I tried Weight Watchers, keto, South Beach, you name it. I've probably tried it. Even weird ones like, I think there was a cabbage soup diet where that's all you ate. And this time around, it was almost exactly a year ago, Sunday, I just kind of got to the point where I was like, I don't want to have to do this ever again. So I need to figure things out and do this in a way that is sustainable for me. And so I started YouTubing to hold myself accountable for my weight loss. And it's been quite a journey. I'm about in a year, 40 pounds down, and I still have 60 to go to hit my 100-pound weight loss goal.
Awesome. LB. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. I double clicked it, sorry. I am LB from Pine Trees and Stars. I consider myself to be a multifaceted person, and as a consequence, I have put myself and my health last. So I used to be pretty fit and do a lot of great, amazing things athletically, but over time, I just kind of let myself go and put other things ahead of me, basically. And there's so many things in my life that I consider to be important to me, but I wasn't putting my health on that list. So now I'm trying to change where I rank and where my health ranks on my list of all the things I do.
Awesome. Yay. Well, and I'll say a little bit about mine too. I mean, like many of you, I've had sort of this issue on and off for many years. And if you could graph my weight, it would probably look like rolling hills over the years, right? I've been able to lose about 55 pounds twice, but I've never gotten beyond that. I feel like trip through it, I picked up more of the puzzle pieces that I needed to have. So I'm really hoping that I've got most of the complete picture this time. And I'm dedicated to finding those puzzle pieces if they're not there. So that's kind of a little bit about my story. So maybe you guys can tell me too about what made you start a YouTube channel, and has it been what you expected? What have you learned by doing it? What have you gained from the experience? And just feel free to jump in with your thoughts.
I will say that it was something I was hoping would help keep me accountable with this new journey that I started. It's been almost 2 years ago, but like I said, I didn't get really serious with it until about last summer. And it was just a way to kind of journal and document what I was learning, as well, in the hopes that maybe it could be useful to other people. So it's kind of multifaceted. I felt like I needed that accountability, but I also wanted to share what I was learning. And I feel like one of the best things that I have gained from this is just getting into this awesome community. Like, I have met some of the most amazing, best people in the world, and it has been so fun to connect with all of you guys, with like-minded people who are, trying to do the same thing. And I feel like you guys are really, have a similar mindset as me. And so it's really fun to get on here and share my story, hear about all of you guys, and connect with each other. Like, that connection has really been amazing for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll echo exactly what Alicia was saying, that and what Sarah said earlier. It was about that accountability piece, to kind of put my story out there. No more, I felt like if I kind of hid what I was doing, kind of was losing weight secretively to myself, I could also quit as many times and who cares, right? Only I knew. So it was really kind of to put that out there so that I could be, in my mind, more accountable. I could have disappeared at any moment, still could, but I'm choosing not to. And I think eventually it kind of evolved into, that sense of community, and finding those like-minded people and learning from them and learning from their journeys too, as well. So it's been an amazing thing, to find, because nobody else in my life is really trying to lose weight. My husband could care less. My children could care less, so at least having a place to be able to go and kind of be with people who kind of understand exactly what you're going through and learning from them has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would 100% echo that too. And something you said that actually reminded me of something. I have struggled with binge eating disorder for several years now. And a big part of that is secret eating. And if you're documenting on YouTube and you gain weight every week because you're secretly going to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and getting a half dozen chocolate chip cookies, you're not going to be able to hide that. So it was a way for me to put myself out there, and as part of that accountability piece, but also in a way helped me with a lot of those negative habits that I had formed, because it was well, I won't be able to hide this anymore. Somebody's going to know, somebody's going to find out, somebody's going to call me out on that. So it's a different level of accountability when you're actually recording what you're eating, recording your weigh-ins, recording your, physical activity. It's different than even if you've ever gone to Weight Watchers. I don't know if you all have done Weight Watchers, but they have meetings, and you go to these meetings and everybody is like, yay, I got a sticker. It's kind of like that on steroids. because you want to get those, you want people to encourage you and like your video, and you want them to be like, all right, you're doing a good thing. You don't want people to be like, hello, you can't go to the drive-through 3 nights a week and expect to lose weight. And people will do that on YouTube. People will do that. So that's the best way I could describe it, is just like hardcore accountability.
Yeah, definitely accountability, and then it morphs into support, I think, is really what YouTube does. So you feel accountable, and yet you're so supported either way, no matter what happens.
Yeah. It's funny that you brought up the Weight Watchers thing, Sarah, because I was thinking about that too. It is like that on steroids completely, because I went to those groups back in the day too, and they had benefits, but it's like you only get this little snippet of what people contribute to that conversation. And on YouTube, you get to see people, what, their lives, what they're thinking, what's going well, what those down days, not just the day they show up at that meeting, right? So you get kind of a snapshot of everything, and you can really relate to everybody else's story. And I started it too, just to think, I'm just going to put it out there, right? Let me just put it out there. And the community part was a surprise to me, quite honestly. Like, I wasn't really expecting that. So that's been bonus, and definitely a thing that's been really helpful. And you've done such a great job with that, with your Facebook group and your live chats, really creating some spaces for that to happen. So
Definitely.
That's my hardcore Weight Watchers meeting without the stickers. You don't get any stickers when you come to Caffeine and Calories, but you sure do get the support and the encouragement that you need. And that, honestly, if I of course, I would have loved to have lost more weight at this point. Like, who's not going to say that? But the fact that, we have this like pretty freaking amazing community going, and just the joy that brings me. And like everybody else said, it was kind of a surprise. That wasn't what I started out with the intention of, like, I'm gonna have a live stream. That was never in my mind. And then I feel like I was watching another channel. I won't say the name of it, but I was watching another channel, and their live stream was not as positive. And I kind of had in my imagination, like, imagine if they did this with all these people coming in here and doing a live chat, and it was like real positive and supportive. And that's kind of how I came up with, I'm like, I'm just going to do it. What the heck? If it sucks, nobody will come, and I'll just not do it anymore. But it ended up being a really great thing. And I think regularly there's, anywhere from 30 to 40 people there holding each other accountable, lifting each other up, celebrating non-scale victories, and just talking about things that you're not going to go talk about with like your regular circle of friends unless they're specifically trying to lose weight. And I don't have those people either. Like, I don't know anybody, and everybody I know could care less about losing weight, but here everybody does. And so it's a great way to come together. And that, it's been the most surprising part to me too. Wasn't originally my intention, but that's just kind of how it flowed. And it was awesome. And I love it. It's absolutely my favorite part of any of this.
So cool. Yeah. Well, let's shift into some mindset chat. And I'd like to know what you all feel like, what the role of mindset plays in your weight loss journey. How has it played a role? How does it play a role for you now?
I'll go. So I feel like mindset is something that up until the last few months was something that kind of held me back and kind of sabotaged my efforts to lose weight for a really long time, until I got serious about not only looking at taking care of my body through diet and exercise. That was mainly what I was focused on for a lot of years. And I was neglecting the way that I thought, the way that I talked to myself, and the beliefs that I had about myself. But when I started tackling this along with the diet and exercise, then things really started to happen for me. And when I started kind of questioning those negative thoughts and beliefs about myself that I didn't even realize I had for a long time, when I started really like taking a deeper look at those things and questioning those and thinking, do I really believe that about myself? Or do I believe that I don't deserve this? It really came down to, getting really serious about all of that stuff. And when I started working on that, that's kind of when things started to change for me and get better and get easier. And this is not an easy journey, but it's not as hard as it used to be once I started looking at my mindset and trying to work on thinking about myself in a more kind and compassionate way and being more patient with myself. And that's been a real game changer for me on my journey.
I've always noticed that when I'm positive about things, then the people around me are positive about them as well, and it's contagious. And so I like how contagious positivity is, and I try to surround myself with those people. And it's really hard though to turn that positivity around to yourself. So that's what I've been trying to do too, is not just be positive outwardly, but make sure I'm reflecting that positivity inwardly so that I treat myself in that same way. And so I think my mindset of positivity is really what I've been trying to do and to focus on to make this successful for me.
Yeah, and I feel like, kind of to echo what both of you have said, I like using kind of this metaphor for myself that, like, if I was at a job and I had a boss who calls me into his office and says, "You are doing everything wrong. You are failing at everything. You suck. Like, you're doing nothing right." I would not feel motivated as an employee to be like, I can do better. I'm going to do better. I'm going to meet his expectations. I can meet his expectations. No, I can't. He thinks I do everything wrong. Whereas if I had a boss who was focusing on, you know what, like, you're really contributing here, you're doing a great job here, there's this that you're doing really well, and here's like somewhere where you could like turn it up a notch, here's where you could do a little better, like, I would feel much more like, yeah, okay, no, I'm doing a good job, and yeah, I can work on that. I can meet your expectation. And I realize that's the same thing for myself. Like, I'm my own boss. And kind of going back to what both of you said, like, maintaining a positivity, like cheering myself on, recognizing what I'm doing as well as knowing when I have that inner voice that is really actually shaming me and telling me that I'm doing everything wrong. Like, it just brings me down to where I'm not going to feel more motivated to make those better choices for myself. So I think really for me, that key piece was also like defining for myself what taking responsibility for my actions were, where I can still be positive about what I'm doing and still accept the responsibility. Like, if I choose to go through the drive-through when I, had another meal planned for myself or what have you, versus shaming myself and only focusing like on the negative, beating myself down to where I just feel like I'm never going to make this right. Like, I'm never going to get there. So definitely that mindset of being personally responsible for my choices, but coupling that also with a ton of cheering myself on and like acknowledging all the good work I was doing, I think has been paramount for keeping myself motivated and continuing on.
I love that boss analogy so much. Like, you need to put that on something, like that needs to be a sign or something that we can hang up.
Make
I
a video.
love that. Like, that's like straight up genius, like straight up
Yeah,
genius.
it's a great analogy.
Honestly, like, and I think I've talked about this before when I did the self-love challenge with Christina Julia, but I have said things to myself that I would never ever in a million years say to a single person that I care about. Even if I cared about them just a little bit, I wouldn't say those things. You know what I mean? And so mindset for me, I really had to shift from like shaming myself, like Andrea said, beating myself up over dumb in the scheme of things, and just learning that weight loss, yes, it's, big part of it's in the kitchen, big part of it's, physical, doing exercise, but there's a good chunk of it that's head game too. And you almost have to like get over your old self, when you are finally ready to like actually commit. And then the other thing is too, is our mindset is really impressionable to things that we've been marketed for our entire lives. I think especially we're all around the same age. So especially us children of like the 80s and 90s, where you had, I mean, you came home from school, you put on the TV, you were getting an ad for, or an infomercial for some sort of lose weight fast and slim your thighs and just things basically in essence telling you like, hey, you're fat, like commercials just telling you like you need to do this because you're fat. And so for me personally, I had to overcome that too. All these things that had, left an imprint on my mind. Those aren't true. You don't have to lose weight fast. Who made that rule up? Like who made that rule up? And I think when you start realizing that marketing and a lot of even social media, influencers and stuff, they're marketing to your vulnerability. And so you have to stop letting yourself be vulnerable to that and just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, it's a good
I think
point.
too, it's really important to recognize that, we're all trying to lose weight, but a mindset that I had for a long time unconsciously that I wasn't even aware of was that in order to be good enough or worthy enough or enough, I needed to lose weight. And wrapping my head around, and I'm still working on it, wrapping my head around, I am enough just as I am right now. I haven't lost the weight, all the weight that I want to lose. And I may never get exactly where I want to be, and at my highest weight, I was still worthy and good enough then. And wrapping my head around that is also kind of a big game changer. And again, it's something I think I'll probably always have to be working on because like you said, Sarah, it's out everywhere we go. We're being told that we're not good enough because of our weight or because of the way we look.
Yeah. What do you think has helped you change your mindset, or what sort of awakened you to realize some of these things that we had, be impacted from, past infomercials and other things, and recognizing some of those shame comments that we say to ourselves? What do you think helped sort of awaken you to that? Or what changed for you?
A big thing for me was I knew that how I was treating myself was not helpful. And I really think it was like a middle of the night epiphany for me. I don't think there was like any one thing. I really think that I was just sitting in bed thinking about how I talk to myself. And this is already, I'm talking like, this was like 6 months into my weight loss journey that I just started now. So this wasn't like an immediate, like, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to be kind to myself. No, there was like there was some stuff that had to happen. And when I got to about the 6-month point, and I think I had only lost, I shouldn't say only, I think I had lost 15 pounds at that point. And I really wanted to be further along and keeping track, like sticking to my goals better. And I kind of just had like, they call it like a come to Jesus with myself. And I was like, okay, what is the deal? Like you're doing all this stuff, like what is going on? And that was really when I realized I started writing things down, like writing the things that I thought about myself down, and like actually seeing it in print was like, okay, this is not working. Like now it's time to start working on this. And so, and when I did, I really think that's when I started to saw change, not just outwardly, but internally as well. Was actually like almost making like an emotional inventory of what I was feeling versus what I wanted to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided then, right then and there, when I did that, to start taking the steps to feel the way that I wanted to feel, not the way that I was feeling.
Yeah.
Yes, I cannot agree more with that. My answer was journaling. That has definitely, it's a game changer, because I think a lot of us, I don't know if all of us are parents, but especially just busy adult women, right? Like as soon as you have one thought come in, another one comes in, and then the other one's out. and you've registered those thoughts, but we don't necessarily take the time to really slow down and really look at that thought and be like, wait, do I really want to think that? Like, is that even true? Like, I don't know. Like, they're just zipping in and out and we're just going along for the ride. And so I'll give you another analogy. We're like in math class, right? And this is old school. My kids, they do math and I'm like, what, magic are you doing here? Like, I don't understand this. But back in the day, you got your big old piece of paper, a big old eraser, a pencil, and you just long formed it out, right?
Yeah.
You carried it all down, and you had to do it on paper because the teacher would keep telling you, you need to be able to see if you get the wrong answer, where did you go wrong? Did you forget to carry the one? Did you do the math wrong here? Did you do plus instead of minus? Like, you needed to be able to examine it. And what is more difficult than some of the mental and emotional problems that we have in our lives, right? For me, it just makes sense. You got to write that out on a piece of paper. You got to figure out, did I forget to carry the one somewhere? Am I plussing instead of minusing? Adding instead of subtracting? I guess it would be the more correct way to say it, but you know what I mean? Like, you need to be able to see, like, exactly what am I thinking? And also, when you're putting that paper and pen to use, you have to slow down, right? Because your pencil cannot go as fast as those thoughts usually are going through your head. So it really allows you to slow it down and see, like, what really am I thinking? You know, is that helping me out? Because I also believe wholeheartedly that what you think creates your feelings. So especially when people say on their weight loss journey, I'm not feeling motivated anymore. Well, what are you thinking about it? Usually when I'm feeling not motivated, I'm thinking this isn't working. So I don't want to do it, or I'm not doing this right, or I keep messing things up, right? And so you can kind of catch that and be like, all right, so what else can I think to help me feel more motivated? How can I change my thoughts so that I get going back on the path that I want to be on? So yeah, journaling hands down has been the best way to get in tune with that.
Yeah.
Oh, well
I
said.
would agree with that as well. Sorry. I bet I filled, I don't know how many spiral bound notebooks over the last 3 or 4 years, a lot. And it's been, I always tell myself this notebook is just for me to like do a brain dump of all the stuff I'm thinking, all the things I'm struggling with, my mindset, all of the ways that it's holding me back. I would dump that in my notebooks, write it out. And like you said, Andrea, when you can like really sit there and read, because I think most of the time we're not conscious of those thoughts. They're coming and going. And just taking the time to physically write that down and to see what you've written definitely has helped me a lot. And I would highly recommend journaling to anybody who doesn't do it. It does help so much.
Now I want to journal. You guys.
Welcome, Erin. Thanks for jumping in. We were just talking about what sort of helped us change our mindsets over time. So feel free to jump in anytime with thoughts on it. And I totally echo the journaling thing. I'm big pro journal, and I feel like, you know, sometimes your pen finds answers for you. I don't know, like if you just let things swim around in here, it just kind of bounces around. But if I write questions, then sometimes I start writing answers that I didn't know I might have had. So I think it's just really amazing.
Well, I personally think that journaling lets you think through, like it stops you. Andrea did a great job of describing it, but it slows you down enough to make you think about what you're actually thinking, right? So you have to think both sides, you have to consider it. You can't just let everything spin in your head. You have to slow down enough to put everything out. And when you do that, it's really a good way to think through things. So I love journaling for thinking through when I'm trying to make a decision or that sort of thing. Like, how am I going to handle this? When I start writing is when my brain actually starts organizing thoughts and then putting it down. Although I do most of my journaling online. So I don't do it on paper and pen kind of journaling. I do it all on a computer. And I've also done it to my family. So I've had an online journal that my family can read, which is interesting. But they've kind of stopped like reading it as frequently and that sort of thing. So I think that YouTube's actually been good for me to get my thoughts out where people are still seeing them too. So I think that you can use YouTube as a way to kind of verbally journal or vlog, right? What you're doing and share your thoughts with other people too. So I kind of see a connection between the benefits of journaling with what people do on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, and Erin, do you want to, let's pause and let you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you, your weight loss journey and kind of where you are now.
Hey, again, sorry for being late. Husband got home from work and the kids needed tubbies and one's still in there. So if you hear splashing,
oh, good.
I'm Erin. My YouTube channel is Adventures in Erin-delle. I'm on a weight loss journey to lose over 200 pounds and go to Disney World. That's my thing. I had my youngest son, Nico, my only son, Nico. I have a little girl and a little boy. And November of 2019, and the big bad hit. And over the summer, I was feeling very crappy. And I actually gained weight after having him. So I lost 10 pounds while I was, pregnant with him. Had a really good, healthy pregnancy. I'm also a type 1 diabetic, so it's complicated and everything on top of it. But because of the world we're living in and not moving and the big snowball of bad things for me, and I hit rock bottom. I hit the point where like I couldn't go up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing. Picking up and carrying my children around were difficult. Just having the energy to parent them was difficult. And I was taking my kids swimming at my parents' pool one day, and I'm sitting there and I just had it. I absolutely had it. And I joined Noom that day. I signed up. I didn't take before pictures. I didn't take measurements. I didn't have a plan. I just knew that I had to do something, and I had to do something now. And that was the moment that I had to. And I did. I joined, and the next day I started trying to follow the program and be more conscientious of it. That was the summer, July, August. And I've lost about 63 pounds since then. I actually don't follow Noom anymore. My subscription went up. I found that about 3 or 4 months in, I wasn't really doing the lessons so much anymore. I was just using it to categorize what I'm eating and keep track of my calories and stuff like that. So basically they taught me what I hope is a lifelong change thing, and that I can continue on. I still have, hi buddy. I still have a good 150 pounds to go before I reach my personal goal, which is 180. In my adult life, I've never been lower than 140. So one of my personal goals is where a lot of you are starting from. And it's so weird to think that I would be extremely happy and celebrating if I got down to 240 pounds. I'd be dancing a jig. I'd be shaking my butt like it was the sexiest thing on earth. So it's kind of cool to see you guys and your perspective. And I'm so sorry you have boogies in your nose. Mommy will help you in a minute. Daddy's helping. So you guys have inspired me too. It's just not just, I know, watching you guys have inspired me. And I always thought maybe I can do a YouTube channel, but would people watch? Would people be interested? Would people make fun of me and just be like, you're an idiot, you did this to yourself? But everybody has been amazingly supportive. I mean, all these beautiful YouTubers have welcomed me into their world. And I mean, I just started December 1st, and I have as of today 179 followers, which I don't know in the realm of YouTube how successful in the time frame I've been doing it is or isn't, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Successful.
Awesome.
Any is successful.
Yes, that's great. Right. So I wanted to sort of move on to, did you all have any sort of aha moments that were really game changers for you, or any thoughts that you were able to shift that you just felt made a huge difference in your story or your journey? Or was it not about that? I'd like to hear about that too. If it's not about that, what are some of the other things?
For me, go ahead. Because it's about being active. I've noticed that when I'm more active, even just in anything I do during the day, then I'm more successful. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's more about what you eat than how you move your body. But I honestly feel like for me, counterintuitive to what everyone else says, when I'm more active, then I'm more successful. And maybe it's just me and my body and however I'm being active. But I honestly feel like the aha moment for me is not what people traditionally say, which is it's more what you eat is more important. I feel like for me, it's been how you move and what you do with your body is more important than what you put into it. Sure, you can't just put a bunch of junk into it, but the movement and activity just has really benefited me.
Do you think that movement and activity also changes your mindset? Does it impact,
definitely.
is that part of the
even when I back to even high school, because I'm the oldest of 4 girls. And so when I started playing basketball in high school, which was like, 2 hours of practice every day, definitely a step up from what you do in middle school. My parents were like, you are so much nicer to your sisters now. I didn't realize it, right? But I was just happier. I was in a better mindset, right? I didn't have to take anything out on them. I could take it out in being athletic and use my aggression that way. So I definitely agree that it puts you in a better mindset when you're being active and using your body, not just letting everything kind of stir up here.
I find the same for me too. Exercise has become something that is much, much less about changing my body now than it's now more about helping me mentally and emotionally. I feel like when I get done with a workout, that all of a sudden I can just kind of like, my mind kind of chills out, and all of that, like maybe anxiety or stress that I've had maybe in my mind, but even that I carry in my body. If I work out for even 20 or 30 minutes a day, something that I halfway enjoy doing, when I get done, it's almost like my whole like soul just kind of like, okay, I can handle life now. I can handle what's coming and the stresses. And I just feel like it's definitely more of a mental and emotional helper for me. Then it's definitely good for me physically, and I do it for that as well, but it's just not as important for me now as it helps me just manage the stress and the anxiety and all of the hard things that life dumps on you on a constant basis. And I know if I'm having a bad day, I can just hit a quick workout if I haven't already, and it's like, okay, I can handle this now. I got this.
Yeah.
I think it goes hand in hand, like the workout and the weight loss for me. It's one of those things like I feel stronger, I feel better, I feel more sleek. Like you can do more things. So you're losing the weight and you're getting stronger. And I just feel like you just feel better when you do it together. And like they complement each other, obviously. Like you eat better, you work out, it goes hand in hand for me. So it does make me feel good, definitely. And I just got back from Disney, and I can walk, because you get down there, you push yourself, and I pushed. And I was very tired at night and my feet were hurting, but the next morning I could get up and do it again. And 6-8 months ago, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do that. So it makes a difference. The weight loss and the working out. One's hard to do without the other.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Alicia?
I just said it gives you freedom if you're doing it right, as long as you're not overdoing it or doing it for the wrong reasons. But if you're doing it the right way that feels good and authentic to who you want to be and how you want to feel, there is a lot of freedom that comes from taking care of your body and yourself that way.
Yeah, so, I went into this pandemic with 4 children, and I completely credit exercise for still having 4 children today. Mentally able mother to show up for them in a nice and kind and loving way. Not always, but most of the time. But to kind of go back to your question about an aha moment, it wasn't like a single point in time for me. But there was at one point where I just thought to myself, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done Noom actually myself, cabbage soup diet, Sarah, you were talking about that. I've done that, I've done Atkins, I've done just everything, right? And I just had this kind of like aha moment that any one of those works. The only reason why they didn't was because I quit. I just quit doing it. Now, I realized like those aren't the way that I want to live my life. So it was probably a good thing that I quit those. But the aha was that if I just keep getting back to it, not letting like a small, eating off plan or missing a workout or whatever completely derail me, then it's inevitable. I will reach my goal if I just keep picking myself back up and getting back to it. So that really has been like the game changer for me, is if I just keep at it. Yeah, it probably is not going to be the fastest weight loss ever. And it hasn't been. It's been 75 pounds probably over 18 months, coming up on, 2 years. So, but it's sustainable and I can do it for the rest of my life. And so that really feels good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think I mentioned this in one of the videos, but my word for the year is committed. So that's like, just stay committed. keep
Mine was
working.
finished. My
Yeah.
word for the year was finished. So just finish the 100-pound weight loss goal.
Yeah. So what mindset challenges do you all still have, and how do you tackle those, or tackle days that you don't feel like you're in your best mindset? What do you do?
Something I do is I will actually like let myself have a bad day, because something I've learned is, number one, not every day is going to be like amazingly awesome. Some are just going to be like a regular day. And then you're going to have bad days. Like there's stuff that's out of your control that kind of can happen and can ruin your day. And is it really the worst thing in the whole world to have one bad day? And I think that's part of my old mentality that did think like, well, you had a Big Mac today. That's it. Diet's over. You're done. Just go back to being obese. Have fun with that. And that was kind of like that was how I was all the time. And that's why I would try. I'm like, well, maybe if I do this diet this time, I won't hate my life and go eat a Big Mac and then just fail the diet. And of course I was wrong, because I didn't have what I needed going on up here ready to commit to that. Plus, who the heck, Andrea can attest to this, she said she did it. Who the heck wants to eat cabbage soup every day for 3 meals? Nobody, literally nobody. Nobody wants to do that. Like you can't live your life that way. And so now if I have a bad day, guess what? That's a learning opportunity. I learned what triggered it this time. And sometimes that's something that I know will probably happen again. And how can I handle it better next time? And then tomorrow's a brand new day. We just start fresh. Or even like the next meal, the next workout, the next whatever can be, you just bounce right back. And so I think allowing yourself like a little bit of time to like have a crappy day, it's going to happen, and keeping it real that, not every day is going to be perfect, gives yourself that flexibility and takes away like that, kind of rigidness that comes along with a lot of like really hardcore, like kind of strict plans, where it's like a good example is a big challenge that everybody's doing now is like that 75 hard. And if you screw up one day on that, if you don't do all the things you're supposed to do, then you're supposed to start all over. And in a way, like that's not realistic. Like things happen, life happens, and you have to give yourself a little bit of flexibility to be able to go back into it. But if you like how I used to be, taking that one bad day and just saying, well, this is, it's all or nothing, you screwed up, that's it, it's over, didn't work. And so being flexible and being kind and forgiving to myself and just the universe, because sometimes really stuff that's out of your control happens and you just have to deal with it. It's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, giving yourself grace, I think, is something that I've definitely learned this time around. And it's so I agree with you fully on that. Just give yourself grace. You're not going to be perfect all the time. Every day is not going to be a banner day. And and if you have a Big Mac, then put that in your calorie budget and just move on. Like You had a Big Mac today. That's okay.
Nobody,
Don't do it all day, every day.
no one tiptoed into obesity from one Big Mac. Like,
Right.
True.
Yeah, I think my challenge though is that I am an internal optimist. And so I don't see my life being overweight as a bad life. So I have to really stop myself and say, hey, there's actually a better way to live. Just because you're happy and things are going well right now doesn't mean that it's the best for you or the best way to be. So I really have to almost challenge optimism at some times just to get myself to kind of be grounded again and say, no, you actually could be healthier. You actually could do more. Things could be better. So for me, the challenge is randomly just optimism because I didn't dislike my life being overweight. So why would my life be any better being in a healthier weight? That's kind of what I struggle with in my mindset is just the optimism I have in my life at any weight.
I'm with you on that, LB. Like, I have a very positive, great life. I just want to be around here longer for it. Like, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to celebrate, and that's a hard part too. There's a reason to celebrate every day. Maybe not every day with cake.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that when you're having a hard day, what you do or trying to get yourself out of a mindset funk?
I think it's also about just sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Andrea, you go.
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, I think catching it early has been really beneficial for me. So every morning I write out like what my goal is, and I write down like an affirmation and how I'm going to show up as my best self that day. And so if I'm kind of dragging my feet to it, catching it early at the beginning of my day and then planning for some self-care, doing that kind of like thought download where you just dump out like, what is everything that's bothering me? Like, why am I feeling like I'm in a funk? Like, what's weighing on my heart? And then trying to figure out from there, like, what is the best plan for today? It's probably not to like go and run a marathon or, do something that's super like mentally taxing. Like maybe I need to rest a little bit. Like maybe I need to, just sit and allow for this feeling. Maybe I need to cuddle with my kids a little bit more. Maybe I need to reconnect with my husband, like whatever it is. And so I think those daily check-ins have really allowed me to tackle those mental challenges in a lot more efficient way, I guess. I don't know. Instead of like finding myself face down in a bunch of Oreos, trying to make myself feel better because I'm just not very aware of, why I'm feeling a certain way or that I'm even feeling that way until I've, gone to the pantry looking for a solution. So I think those regular check-ins and then getting those root things that I need to really solve that feeling has been super, super beneficial.
Alicia, did you have anything else to add or not?
Yeah, okay. So I feel like I'm getting definitely better with my mindset habits, but I also know that those old bad habits that I'm trying to kind of get rid of, and I'm getting better at getting rid of, or like not letting them stay in the driver's seat. Sometimes they sneakily want to slide back into that driver's seat. And so it's about getting present and not just because I find that a lot of times I'm not letting myself be aware of my thoughts and where they're going. And I tend to, of course, like numb out with food or, being sedentary or something. But I think it's really important for me to just take a minute and go, oh, wait, I see this old bad habit that I've struggled with for so long and it's not gone yet. But it's a lot quieter, but it's trying to kind of sneak back in there and take over again. I don't know why they do that, but it's just about trying to get present with my thoughts and with how I'm thinking. And it's hard sometimes. You don't want to face those things, but it's so much better if we can kind of catch those and do something about it rather than just let them run rampant again.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And trying to recognize those old thoughts before they start running the show is sometimes tricky. They're sneaky. But, and for me too, it's also practicing the new thoughts too. And that's easier said than done sometimes, but keeping reminding yourself of those things. Well, the last kind of thing I wanted to ask you guys about is, and we talked about this a little bit already, which I was going to ask you, what helps you cultivate a healthy mindset? And I think we've touched on some things, journaling and just trying to keep an awareness and recognizing those old thoughts. But if you have anything else that you do, any practices that you do, love to hear about those. And then just sort of as a, wrap up thought, which is, if you could sort of impart any little nugget of wisdom to somebody on their journey who wants to really work on their mindset, what advice would you give?
I think not being afraid to put it out there is important, because when you are afraid to do that, it's wrapped up in your head. I'm sorry, people can see that I'm overweight when they look at me. Just, I can't pretend that it's not part of me. And so I feel so much better when I put it out there and I'm sharing my struggles and that sort of thing, to talk about it, to hear what other people have gone through. And don't bottle it up is really what I'm saying here, I guess, is that's the wisdom that I would want to share, is don't keep it to yourself. There are other people out there in that same situation that want to hear it, that want to be part of your story, that want to share their story with you. So feel free to share with others. It's scary, and of course there will be some challenges if there are the haters or whatever out there, but there are so many supportive people that I'm just so happy that I've been able to do this with this group.
Awesome.
Mine would be do affirmations. Like, no matter how much of a goofball you feel when you're standing there looking at yourself in the mirror, telling yourself kind, exciting things that are going to help lift you up through your journey. The first 3 or 4 times you do it, you feel like a total dork. Like, you do. Like, that's, maybe not everybody. Me, I did. I was like, I can't believe I'm standing here talking to myself in a mirror, but okay, here we go. And it's part of my day now. It's actually pretty much when I first wake up in the morning and I get up and I go to the mirror in the bathroom before I take a shower, and I just say a few nice things about myself, tell myself that, I am good enough, and I'm going to meet my goals, and I'm going to do the things that I need to do to stick to my plan today. It impacts your mind when you start doing it every single day, and it's something that you commit to doing, just like anything else. It starts really making an impact on your mindset, like big time. You start believing yourself. At first, once you get past that goofiness in the beginning, you start believing yourself, and you start feeling the things that you're telling yourself, and you start giving those affirmations more meaning. And mine have grown. Sometimes I'm in there like, looking at myself for 60 seconds. Then there are times where I'm there like maybe 3 or 4 minutes, because I'm just like, I'm actually like getting myself pumped up for the day, especially like if, my job, if I have a big presentation or something, going in and starting my day confidently and giving myself that confidence, not getting it from somewhere else, really just makes such a huge difference. Get over the goofy part of it and just do it. Do affirmations. They work. There's a reason they exist. They work.
Awesome.
So I'll go next. I would say, just like with a lot of things in weight loss, start small and don't judge yourself. So if you're starting with a mindset, I'll just go from like a body perspective, right? Of like, I hate my fat body, right? You're not going to jump to, I love my amazing, beautiful body. Like, it's going to feel inauthentic. You're going to feel like a fake, and you're going to be like, no. So you can level it up just a touch, right? Until that feels good. And then like do another level up. So it's like, okay, maybe I just say I have a body. I can agree to that, right? And then I have an able body, and I have a good body. And then we get into, I love it and whatever. And so don't feel like you can't make just small tweaks to that mindset, because it will be like a snowball. Once that feels good, it'll feel more possible to think something new, something different, something more amazing. And I think a lot of us, throughout our journey, our mindsets have become more powerful and more optimistic and more amazed at what's like possible for us and who we are. So, don't judge yourself for where you're starting, and just try to, level up a little bit every now and then on those mindsets and trying to get to where you ultimately want to be as your future self.
Love that.
I agree.
Go next.
So
Sorry.
small steps. It just small steps. Be kind to yourself and focus on what you can do and what you can't do. Don't focus on like, oh, I can't eat this anymore. Be like, well, I can eat all these wonderful, delicious, healthier foods for myself, and try to choose that. And then, integrate what, small steps, positive thinking. Think of what you can do, not what you can't do, what you're limited to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what helps me. It's like, okay, what can I eat today? Well, I'm having a sweet tooth. I'm going to cut up a whole bunch of strawberries and put some whipped cream on there. And that's going to be my treat. And that's delicious and healthy. And I'm not sacrificing. This is not a sacrifice. You're not giving up things. You're not punishing yourself for being healthy. This is you rewarding yourself by taking care of yourself. And that's what I try to think of, and that's what tries to keep me going when I feel like I have one of my days where I'm having a bad eating day, and I want to say F it. Like, okay, you know what? Done. You have a bad day and you want to throw your hands to the wind. And this time around, I feel like I have my days where I'm just like, screw it, I'm having a cookie, but it's not screw it, I'm having a cookie and that's all I'm going to eat for the rest of my life, and I'm giving up on this track. It's screw it, I'm going to have a cookie. That's okay. Moving on. Like this time around, it feels different for me. I don't if that makes sense. And being positive, I think, is the way to reinforce the long-term effects of this. I don't want to stop doing this. I don't want to go back to the old ways of eating and behaving, even though the habits are deeply ingrained. I'm trying to pull them out by the roots. So that's just where I am. I'm just trying to be positive, small steps, and you're not punishing yourself. This is not a negative thing that you're doing for yourself. It's a positive thing that you're doing for yourself. Yeah. And for other people who you love.
So true.
So I think what I would add to that is I think it's super crazy important to celebrate the wins, the things that we are doing right, especially those small wins that we think don't make a big difference. They do. Anytime that we are staying on track in some way, even if we're not doing it perfectly, we have to give ourselves credit for that. I think that for me, for a long time, I was pretty sedentary. I didn't work out a lot. I didn't move as much as I should. But I thought, oh, I got to get out and work out every day for an hour. I got to go run. I got to do all this stuff. No, guess what? Getting outside and walking for 15 minutes, if you're not used to doing that, that is a huge win. That's a big deal. And you can add those wins, those small wins together, and they start adding up to big wins. And I think that we're really kind of adverse to giving ourselves credit where we're doing things right, especially those small things. We want to celebrate the big things, but those small things are super important too. But I think we don't want to do that because they seem small and because it doesn't seem like enough effort or like we're doing enough. But I know that when I give myself, kind of like you said, Sarah, like you're in the mirror and you're talking yourself up, we have got to do that to ourselves. Give yourself a pat on the back and a high five. And as silly as that sounds, doing that for yourself, it really does make a difference. And that's something I've never been good at that I'm getting better at. And it really does help me kind of just stick to my guns and keep going when things get hard or when I get off track or when I feel like I'm not making the progress that I want to make. When I stop and look, okay, but you know what, you're doing this right. Okay, you know what, you worked out twice this week when last week you didn't work out at all. Or, maybe you hit the drive-through every day normally, but hey, guess what? You made dinner at home 2 days this week. those are huge wins. They're big, and we have to give ourselves credit for those. And as we start doing that, I know for me, I'm getting better at it. And so it's something that if you practice, you get better at, right? And it's the same thing with this as well.
Yeah. Awesome. You guys have shared so much wisdom. I love it. So thanks so much for being in this conversation. I think it's a lot of people are going to resonate with what you have said tonight. So I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me about it. And links to your channels are going to be all below. So everybody should go and find all these folks and subscribe to their channels if you haven't already. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Terry.
Hey everybody, I cut off the recording just a little too quick, cut off the last wrap-up comments there, but anyway, I hope that you really enjoyed that conversation. I think there's so much wisdom there that they all shared, and it was just a great time. And I hope you will go and subscribe to their channels. Links are down in the description box to everyone. Please go and support them, and I think you'll get a lot of support as well by following along on their journeys. So, and I also just want to remind you, if mindset's something that you want to work on, and mentioned in this conversation was the powerfulness of affirmations, that you can go down below. There is a link to my free app called Wellness Thoughts, and it's really a simple app. You just push the button, you get a new thought related to weight wellness to help create that positive mindset for yourself. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and do it real quick. It's real easy. You'll get an email with the instructions, and you'll have it going in no time. So please subscribe, ding the bell if you want to get notifications on what is new, and like this video if you enjoyed the content. And until next time, be well, take care.